Hey, Warren Eckstein here, answering some more of your questions. This one comes in from John. Warren, my wife and I adopted a 9-year-old male terrier from the pound last July. Thank you for doing that. He's neutered, house-trained, and a wonderful lap dog. He gets along with everyone in the house, including our older male dog. But he barks and growls at our 23-year-old son who lives with us. Our son is on the autism spectrum, and the barking upsets him. Our son does have a tendency to act out a bit, what frustrates him, and we think that this is why the dog barks at him. The dog will shake when our son gets loud. We are looking at options to stop the problem, and our son's therapist told him to buy a product called Barks No More. But I'm not sure that's the answer. We need peace back in the house. Can you help? Well, first of all, tell your therapist to stay in his lane. Bottom line is, if you start correcting the dog for the barking around your son, you're going to make the dog more assertive towards your son. Big mistake. Stick to your lane. Here's what you need to do. You need to incorporate your son more into the dog's activities. For example, I work with a lot of kids over the years that were on the autism spectrum. What I always recommended is that they became the trainer. They became the educator. So if you're taking your dog for a walk, your son should always be with you. It's outside. He's not as focused on your son at that point. There's a lot of other distractions out there. Maybe you have a neighbor who has another dog that your dog gets along with. That's number one. Go out in the yard with your son and the dog. If the dog is barking at your son, rather than saying, no, 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 your dog is already barking because he's not feeling comfortable, I would go over to the dog and say, hey, I got it from here. Everything's okay. Calm the dog down that way. I would get involved with some basic training with your autistic son. Do some basic training. Whether the dog sits is secondary to me, but you need to establish a relationship between your son and your dog. You know, over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with situations like this before even one had a title for it. No, it wasn't even a thing. I worked with universities and individuals. This problem can be resolved. What we need to do is reestablish the relationship between your son and the dog. So more time spent outside of the environment would be really, really important. When your son may be acting a little bit loud, that's when your dog should get some positive attention. And in terms of basic training, get your son involved with the dog. He'll sit, stay down, and come. Again, just to establish a relationship. So let me put it this way. Having had the opportunity of working with so many children with autism over the years and their parents, it's all been done in their homes. They're not all going to have the perfect relationship, but the dogs eventually, if consistently exposed in a positive, intelligent way, will accept the changes. In fact, sometimes they even look towards us. I've seen so many dogs that had adverse relationships with a child with autism that all of a sudden, when they follow the advice I just gave you, the relationship between the dog and the autistic child is stronger than the relationship between anyone else in the family. So try to get your son involved. I know there are going to be times it's going to be frustrating, but follow my advice. Get your son more involved with the dog on a regular basis, whether it be feeding, whether it be grooming, whether it be walking, and little by little, they will come around. Just make sure for both ends, every time your son is with the dog, it ends in a positive note, and every time the dog is with your son, it ends in a positive note. Give it a shot. Still have problems, give me a call back. Don't expect it to happen overnight. Appreciate you listening to the show. John, I know that's going to work for you just well. I'm Warren Eckstein, and we're answering questions. If you want to go to my website, thepetshow.com, or sign up here at youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. I will be answering questions from time to time. Obviously, I can't answer them all, but John, I just answered yours.